the last few come in and find their seats, I would like to welcome you to Holy Trinity. And for many of you, this may be your first time here on our campus, and we certainly want you to feel at home. We have several of you who are from our lower school, so welcome to your second home. And to all you parents out there, thank you for entrusting your child's education to us. And we're excited that you're here today to work together with us to develop the pathway for your child to succeed, not only here at Holy Trinity, but then later on in life. And we are very proud of all that we do here at Holy Trinity, but I must tell you that we're most proud of our students and who they are and who they become. Last week, we had Senior Day, and we had the opportunity to listen to senior orators. There were two members of the senior class that were chosen by their classmates to give an address to the class and the faculty, kind of an overview of their experience at Holy Trinity, and then an address to the students that they have grown to love. And one of our senior orators, Braxton Lanoy, he said something that resonated with me, and he described the student body here at Holy Trinity as an incredible collection of individuals. And those are his words. And I can't agree more. And so, welcome. And now your child will have the opportunity to become one of those incredible individuals here at Holy Trinity. Will you please join me in prayer and bow your heads? Almighty God, we come together tonight to lift up our children as your children, children of a loving and gracious God. We pray that each child who walks through the halls of Holy Trinity finds it a place to belong and a place to become the young person you have divinely inspired them to be. May the faculty, staff, and parents work together in partnership to focus on these children and have them realize their gifts and to use them to serve you. We ask this in your Son's name, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you. I would now like to invite Ms. Uzier and Mrs. Buse to come up, and they will start off the evening for us. And again, thank you for being here.
Hi there, my name is Cindy Bust. I'm head of the senior high, so I am responsible for all things 9 through 12. So there are, I think, a few new 9th grade families out there. Hello, yes, awesome. I'm so glad some of you came. So excited to welcome you. So I just wanted to make sure you could put a name to a face, and I am here to answer any and every question, hopefully, that you may have about the high school.
Hi, I'm Melissa Uzier. I'm the head of the junior high. So hello, new junior high families. We are so excited to have you guys on campus next year, and maybe hopefully a couple of times before then. But tonight is about curriculum. Tonight is about, what classes should my kid take? Because coming from 6th grade into 7th grade can be a big jump, right? Even 7th grade to 8th grade. So we wanted to kind of just go through everything for you. And I'm going to let our curriculum experts spend most of the time up here. We have our two academic advisors. We have Blake Wilson, who is the academic advisor for 7th and 8th grade, and Bev McHenry, who is the advisor for 9th grade and 10th grade. So they're going to go through the curriculum, and then we're going to have an opportunity to talk about electives as well. So we're going to try to keep this to about an hour because we understand it's a Tuesday night. But again, Mrs. Buse and I just wanted to introduce ourselves so that if you have questions after, curriculum related or not, you are more than welcome to ask either one of us as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Wilson.
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Blake Wilson, and I'm the junior high academic advisor and counselor. And just a quick show of hands, where are my soon-to-be 7th and 8th graders that are going to be joining us? Keep them up. All right, so I'm going to be talking to you specifically, but to everybody in the crowd generally, all right? And so we're going to talk curriculum. So 7th and 8th graders all take 5 core classes and 2 electives, okay? The 5 cores are the English, the math, the social science / history, PE, and science. Sorry to forget science, everybody. And you'll notice when I talk about 7th, there'll be specific classes, and then 8th, there'll be specific classes. But generally speaking, that's going to be your life in 7th and 8th grade. 5 core and 2 electives, okay? 7th graders, raise your hand for me, soon to be 7th. All right, here we go in August. This is what's going to happen to all of us, all right? We are going to be in World Geography Advanced, all right? So that's your social science history class. Kind of a precursor for world civilizations later in high school, all right? Then we're looking at Life Science Advanced, all right? Kind of our precursor to a biology class in high school. And again, this is all 7th graders take these courses, okay? Comprehensive Physical Education, PE, as you know it, or gym. All 7th graders will be taking PE 5 days a week. In 8th grade, there'll be a little variable. We'll get to it in a second. But again, everybody's going to be taking it 5 days a week. And then English 2 Advanced. Don't get thrown off by the number. All 7th graders are in English 2 Advanced, all right? Those are the 5 cores. Those don't change. The 2 electives is where you're going to have some options, though. All 7th graders are required to take 1 fine arts elective, and we have a wide variety from the classic art, and you'll see a slide up there a little bit later with all the details. From the art, the performing arts, we have a lot of STEAM in terms of engineering classes, speech and debate. We can talk more about that a little later, but you have the option of taking 1 fine arts and then 1 other elective, okay? We'll talk more 7th graders later on when we get to, and I'm going to put a plug in for the math placement test on the 23rd and the 30th. If you haven't signed up, please get in touch with admissions, all right? So 7th grade, 5 core, 2 electives. One of them has to be a fine arts. 1 is your choice, okay? Let's move on to 8th grade. 8th graders, 2B, where are you? We have 1, we have 2. All right, we got a few here. All right, well, welcome, 8th graders. So we're going to jump into American History Advanced. Again, kind of a precursor for American history later on in high school, I believe junior year. It'll be your first taste of that. Then we jump into Physical Science or Physical Science Advanced. Depending on how you did in 7th grade science, we meet with the teachers, we talk about some parameters around should they have the opportunity to be in advanced or not. And then we work that out and get your child in the class that they should be in, okay? So Life Science Advanced. Physical Science Advanced, down into the comprehensive PE in 8th grade. Same kind of idea as 7th grade, except in the 2nd semester, they're going to also be taking the health component with the health opportunities in PE. That's where the HOPE comes into play there, all right? It'll be threaded in sometime in maybe the 2nd or 3rd quarters, while they still also have PE a couple days a week. So you're not missing out on PE while you get the health credit, okay? You don't have to take a PE class in high school after 8th grade PE. So that's another benefit in 8th grade PE. Then we get to English, English 3 or English 3 Advanced, the same kind of parameters around the science. Based on the work in 7th grade, we get your student into the right class in 8th grade, all right? Then we talk about math. And math in 7th and 8th, as I plugged the placement test, is determined by a whole lot of factors. Placement test is one piece. We look at all of the report cards that we have from you. We look at teacher recommendations. We look at standardized tests and any other information from the admissions department, or maybe I've had conversations with you specifically. We put all of that into our decisions. So that placement test is one small piece, just so you know. An important piece, but it's just one small piece, all right? And then again, how many electives do you get to take? 2, 7th and 8th. 8th grade, the electives are similar. I think we can roll there. And we'll go backwards. So again, you can see, I'm not going to list them all, but the fine arts, vast array of options from playing to singing to hitting things and playing things with all due respect to percussion and choir, everything that you can find performance-wise we have. Along with, again, some engineering options in 7th, 8th, and in 9th as we build the program. and along with some world languages and speech and debate as well, which has been very popular this year. So 2 electives, 5 cores. Can you go back a slide, please? One part of our curriculum that isn't the curriculum, but people who support it, obviously, are the teachers. They're the front line. They're in the trenches with everybody, all right? So they're the first and primary person to go to for support of curriculum. Then we have 2 academic coaches, one designated for math, and one is kind of a catch-all ELA organization, everything else. They work 3+ days a week, so they're in it as well, and many students use them as a resource. I'm also here on campus in the trenches with your children every day. I'm another pseudo coach at times as well, where I support them and whatever they're working on. We also have Math Lab, got to put a plug in there. 3 days a week before, after school, opportunity to get math coach help, along with some upper class students that end up helping, which is a great benefit to have those older kids here on campus. It's worked really well for a lot of our junior high kids. School counselors, myself and Mrs. Ramos, who's the counselor of the entire school here up on the upper campus, 2 more people to help with whatever you may need help with, curriculum or not. And then we have retreats in the fall and in the spring. It's kind of a day to step away, chill out a little, have a little fun, do a little bit of business, course selection with me, and then, again, it's just another opportunity for us to see a different side of your children to then support them through the curriculum as they're in the classes, all right? So I am going to hand the mic off to Mrs. McHenry, and thank you for listening. She is one of our high school academic advisors who specifically works with 9th graders.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. So 9th grade curriculum. Who is going to be a 9th grader next year? Some, I see one. And so, all righty, see some more? Yep, all righty. So 9th grade curriculum. Pretty straightforward in terms of graduation requirements. World civilizations or world civ honors. You need that world credit. It is a graduation requirement. Biology or biology honors. And in terms of like the difference between regular and honors, that will come from, if you're already here at HT, your teacher prior will give you a recommendation of which class would be the best fit for you. So biology or biology honors, graduation requirement. English 1 honors. In terms of math, very much depends on the math that you were in the year before. So Algebra 1 or their honors level, geometry or honors level, Algebra 2, etc. Regarding world language, 3 years of world language is required at Holy Trinity for graduation. 2 of those years have to be consecutive. In other words, Spanish 1, Spanish 2, Latin 1, Latin 2, etc. We highly recommend getting that 3rd year in the same language, if that's possible for you. However, if you need to switch it up, and sometimes it has to do with a schedule conflict too, that can happen as well, but you could switch it to a level 1 of a different language. But whether you start your language in 8th grade or you start it in 9th, there are some that start at 7th, but I really wouldn't recommend starting it. I think 8th or 9th is a better time to start personally, but you do need 3 years there, and those are part of your electives. So you'll see, go back real quick. So like, I like to see you have your 5, academic classes, and then the 2 electives, I like to see those as, something where you're using your brain in a different way, something that's fun, something that's relaxing, etc. Which takes us into the 9th grade electives. We, as Mr. Wilson was saying, we have quite the variety. Whether you like the performing arts, singing or playing an instrument or acting, if you're into journalism and mass media, something 9th graders can take right off the bat is Intro to Journalism with Mr. Hale. We do have additional journalism type classes, but that is the prerequisite to take those, like to get into broadcast, doing like the school news, where they actually, every Tuesday, your child could be up here on the big screen talking to the entire school about the school news. It's a cool class. Just a difference there, you do need one fine art high school credit for graduation. However, the journalism and mass media, that doesn't fall under fine art. That would be an additional elective. PE, kind of self-explanatory there. And we have quite an array of academic electives. We are going to be having a panel of teachers who teach these electives to further expound upon those details. And with that, if I could have all of our wonderful elective teachers who have come tonight come up at the same time, and I can introduce you. This is Mrs. Randy Garino, and she is representing our photography department, art department. You guys can take a seat up here. Coming up right here is Mrs. Silvana Wilbur. She is one of our Latin teachers. And Madame Sacra, she is one of our French teachers. Mr. Jason Stevens, he is representing all of our performing arts tonight, and he is our band director. You threw me for a loop there. Mr. Quinn, as in history electives. Sorry about that. Mr. Quinn is new this year, and we are so happy to have him. And then Mrs. Emily Bailey in our science department. She teaches some of our science electives. And Mr. Matt Bowden, also in our science department. So anybody want to go first? Just start with Mrs. Garino.
Well, as she said, I am Mrs. Garino. I teach junior high art. It's the place that I say where the mess and the magic happens. My goal for this class is to introduce students to all of the different media of art, working in ceramics, drawing and painting, both watercolor, acrylic paints. We even do graphic design, so they actually design the 7th and 8th grade t-shirts. And the whole reason for this class is to kind of give students an idea of what they want to go on and do as they get into the high school level. Do they want to focus on ceramics? Do they want to do drawing and painting? Do they want to go on into photography? And I have to give a little push for that because I'm also the high school photography teacher. So students are constantly seeing the fun projects that we're doing as they come into class, and they get really excited about it. And then also graphic design. So we have amazing teachers here that are just always on the front edge of technology and things with the arts, and it's a really fun, fabulous time in our programs.
Hello, like Ms. McHenry said, I'm Silvana Wilbur, and I'm one of the Latin teachers here. We have a very strong Latin program. We actually just came back from our state competition, and we won first for the 2nd year in a row, and thank you. It's really important to our students that we do that too, because I was a student here at Holy Trinity, and I was part of the Latin program, obviously, and my best friends are still those that I went to school with here in that program. We have 1 through AP Latin. I teach AP Latin. And we also have a couple of electives, Ancient Greece and Rome, and next year we're offering Introduction to Greek. Ancient Greek, not modern Greek, don't ask me about that. You know, a lot of people are interested in why take Latin. It's a dead language. Well, most of our students become better writers. They're more proficient. A lot of people take it to move on in college to a professional degree. So we have a lot of different offerings. It's a very fun and strong program. And if you have any questions, I have a couple of flyers that I'll be up there at the end. Thank you.
Bonjour, I am Madame Sacra. I am one of the French teachers here at Holy Trinity. I am going to talk a little bit about French and Spanish because unfortunately our Spanish teacher could not make it today. They do offer a wonderful program in Spanish. We have 3 instructors, 2 of them are native in their language, which really makes a big difference. And they offer Spanish 1 through AP Spanish, and they've had wonderful records of passing records for the AP Spanish. For French, I am from France originally, so I teach all levels from French 1 through AP. Last year, we've always had a 90% or higher score, and last year we came out of a very difficult year, COVID. And the students were very nervous taking on the AP exams, and they got 100% passing rate. We were very excited because statewide we had 61% passing rate, 72% globally, which includes international countries as well participating in the AP program. So why am I mentioning AP? Because AP really is a vision. It's just like if you take martial arts, you take martial arts not to become a white belt, you take martial arts to become a black belt. When you take a foreign language, like French or Spanish, you take it to become bilingual. And that's the ultimate goal. So in French 1, I start immersing the kids in the pretty soon, probably about third or fourth month, so they can start getting used to it. And by the time they get to the AP level, they are bilingual. They take the AP exam. The AP exam, a passing score of 5 in French, will offer 5 semester credit of foreign languages in their college. So it is a goal that they obviously, some of them will have, but I just want to let you know that in French class, we have crepes with chocolate. We also study lots of cultural things. French, teach the kids. I'm from France originally, so I don't want to push the French part of France. But we do study French from across the world. We do also a Tour de France. It's an annual thing that we do at the Holy Trinity. And I'm sure you've heard of the Tour de France. What do they use in the Tour de France? Bicycles, right? And you're probably expecting to use a bicycle, I would imagine, for the Tour de France here at Holy Trinity, right? You won't. You'll be on a tricycle. But you will compete for the yellow shirt. Serious stuff. We also do carnival. We study carnival around the world. So we try to, French is difficult. It's not an easy language, but it's a fun. We try to make it very interactive, very fun. And just like in Spanish or in Latin, the goal is to help the kids acquire the language and try to have a very useful use of the language, and hopefully they want to continue and study it in college. So I wanted to thank you for coming tonight. I've been here at Holy Trinity for about 4 or 5 years. I love this school. As a teacher, I love coming to school. It's a great place to be. Most of you probably have met my daughter, Dr. Sekra. If you've had any problems with her, let me know. But we want to sincerely welcome you. It's a great school. We thank you for entrusting your kids' education in our hands. They're in good hands. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jason Stevens. I'm the band director here at Holy Trinity. I'm here representing all of the performing arts. I just had to Google. I was thinking like a black belt tuba player or something. So currently we have, I'm going to focus on band just for a minute because that's what I'm entrenched in. We have 3 bands here and 3 strictly percussion classes. We're fortunate to have a professional percussionist and teacher here, Mr. Brian Slauson. Does amazing work with the percussionists. So we have our beginning band, intermediate band, and advanced band. We call them concert band, symphonic band, and wind ensemble. We've taken them to our musical performance evaluations here in Brevard County. We take place in the county events. We've performed very well combining classes and things during this COVID time to make a great showing here in the county. We've also participated in the Big Fish production, if anybody came to see Big Fish. All of our top advanced band and percussion players were involved in that pit orchestra, as well as some of the orchestra students. And we also have a pep band that supports in the fall, supports some of the sporting activities and pep rallies and things like that. That's a lot of fun for the students. Incoming students, there's zero experience necessary to be in the band. We will start you from day one. Can't read music, nothing. Come into the band and we will get you started. We spend the first week or so experimenting with some instruments to see what fits well with you and your interests, and we'll get you started in something that's going to make you happy and successful. If you do have experience, I've already heard of a couple folks that are coming in that have experience. We just need to get with you beforehand, make sure you get into the correct placement. I don't want you sitting in a beginning band when I'm talking about fingerings and you've been playing the flute for 3 years or something. That wouldn't work out. For the other fine arts, we also have the orchestra program, a chorus program, and then on top of that, the theater department starts with beginning acting and moving through the big productions like we saw with Big Fish. If you have any other questions, I'll be here afterwards. Questions about band or any other performing arts, I can answer them to the best of my ability. And thanks for coming tonight.
Hello, I'm Mr. Quinn. This is my first year here at Holy Trinity, and it's been an awesome year. I teach 8th grade Advanced American History, 9th grade World Civilizations, and Intro to Speech and Debate, which is one of the elective options for 7th and 8th grade. It's been an awesome year. We've had a great time just learning about basic public speaking techniques and things like that. So it's kind of within the name, speech and debate. There's going to be one semester that primarily focuses on speech. So there'll be learning things like persuasive speech to how to, so explaining someone how to do something in that regard. We also have some little fun projects about learning how to control like facial communications, so knowing that our face and some of the things that we do with our gestures communicate just as much as words. So one of my fun projects that I did with my speech and debate group was doing a silent film, so they had to be able to communicate a story without using words or any kind of, what's the CC comments on the bottom of the video, right? You watch on YouTube, all that? Yeah, that's subtitles? Yeah, that's what it is. So, so we do little things like that to just build on basic communication skills. And then once we work on that, on the speech, second semester primarily focus on the debate aspects. So they'll have different types of debate formats, which range from public forum to Lincoln Douglas. Right now we're currently on a congressional debate, which is basically they have to write up their own bill as if they are a political leader in some aspect, like a senator or representative, and then they have to advocate for their bill on the floor, and it has to be passed by their student peers. So it's been a pretty fun project that we've been working on over the past few weeks or so. And why take speech and debate? Well, a lot of famous political leaders were into speech and debate from either college years or high school, so it really helps with being comfortable in front of an audience and being able to communicate effectively. So I've seen a lot of kids who come into this class and not as comfortable speaking in front of people to being a little more comfortable. I can't say they've all gotten to that point, but it's been cool to see how some of them are very shy going up, and then eventually they come out of their shell a little bit more, they develop their confidence, and they start becoming more and more confident speakers. So I would highly advocate for it. I've had a great time teaching it, and I hope to see all of you in speech and debate next year.
All right. Hi, I'm Emily Bailey, and I teach physics in the upper school. This is my 3rd year here, and I also teach the 7th grade Intro to Engineering. It's called Design, Engineering, and Programming, and that one is only for 7th graders. And what we do is we start with just introducing the engineering design process. We talk through that. We solve some interesting problems. We look at some innovations. We kind of analyze what's going on with that. And then we dive right into programming. We do HTML programming. We do the cascading styles sheets. And so the kids actually have these awesome multi-page websites after just a month of doing it. It's amazing what they come up with, and they work in groups, and some of the stuff is by themselves and some of the stuff is in groups, but you know, you kind of have to learn how to work together at some point in your life. And then we move on to JavaScript, where they actually design their own games. We do 4 different base types of games, and then they get to be creative and kind of come up with whatever type of game they want, and they program them, and then they get to publish them. Our midterm actually, so shh, for the people who aren't here. But our midterm for the last 2 years, we have designed an interactive holiday card, and that's been really fun. And I didn't expect the parents to get as excited about this, but after the first year, the kids published it and sent it to their parents, and then one mom was like, "Can I send this to our family?" And I was like, "Sure." And so I had all these interactive holiday cards being sent around to family, because then the moms didn't have to actually address all the envelopes, and it was fantastic. Saved paper, it was great, and they got good grades. And then after that, we move on to actually designing apps, and currently they're programming hardware, and they are in the middle of making their own innovative design where they have to actually build a prototype. And it's these really interesting, they're called Adafruit circuit boards, and they have to actually create their own circuits, and they program them, and they have accelerometers on them, which means that they can actually tell which way the board is tilting. It has a light sensor, a temperature sensor, all these things. And we've had everything from a piano that plays just using this little board to I think it was like a mood cloud somebody created last year, and that was really cool. I was like, can I hang this in my room? So I still have that one. And then I also teach the 9th grade Intro to Engineering class. It's an honors class for 9th graders, and that's an engineering survey class. We go through civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and we do a project with each unit for each of those engineering disciplines, and it kind of shows all the different, that's just the first semester, and it shows the students the different ways that those engineerings can be used in the real world. They look at real world problems. For their midterm, they actually had to create wind turbines, and they had to light up a whole string of Christmas lights, and it was really cool. So they had to make their own windmill, they had to talk about the physics behind it, and then see how many lights they could light up, and whoever got the most obviously won, and we handed out ribbons, and it was really exciting. Make anything into a competition, and it gets way better. And we made mousetrap cars, because it's amazing how much you can learn just with a car powered by a mousetrap. They learned about torque, they learned about forces, they learned about velocity, and at the end they had a challenge of, okay, does your car have to go the fastest, the furthest, or the third card that they could draw out, which is actually, unfortunately for them, what they drew out as their challenge was they had to go 5 meters up, stop, and come back without touching the car. And so that was kind of fascinating to watch how they solved that problem. They did a bridge design project. The winner of that supported 150-something pounds, I think. It ended up being a child with a backpack on as we handed them weights, because we ran out of ways to create that much weight. Then we did once Christmas passed, we do a chemical engineering, so like a materials science project. They learned a lot about polymers, about biomaterials, about how to actually keep our environment safe. So if something's biodegradable, how do we recreate? They had to design a fork, and they had to decide whether it needed to be compostable, biodegradable. Okay, what if you run water over it? Is it okay for it to just disintegrate? Probably not if you're trying to eat food or if you're trying to put it in your mouth. So these are just problems that they're solving, and right now we're doing biomedical engineering. So they have this whole range of engineering disciplines that we've covered and solved different problems and kind of looked at real world projects. So that's 7th and 9th grade, and then in 10th grade we're adding a new class next year that's going to be a lot of 3D modeling, so using computer aided design like CAD software and 3D printing, and then we're going to move on to Arduinos and try to solve some real world problems by programming hardware yet again. So I think that should be fun, but that's a new class next year for 9th, 10th graders, but they have to have already taken an engineering class to do that. So now, you, for the middle class.
Well, hi folks, my name is Matt Bowden, and I get to teach a really fun class called Introduction to Robotics. And we continue developing the engineering design practices that start in our 7th grade engineering class, but we get to have the fun and excitement of building robots to do it. In this class, we use the VEX hardware platform, and Robot C is our programming language. If you've never done any programming before, have no fear, because we teach you from the very beginning how to do that. Some of our class you'll be working in small teams of 2 and 3, and sometimes we'll be working individually. We will actually design and build robots to accomplish specific tasks. In the past, some of those tasks have been things like a search and rescue robot that has to perform a specific set of tasks. One year we tried something called a surgical robot. That was a year I actually had robotic surgery, so we thought we'd try something interesting there. I had volunteers to actually perform on me. But we'd come up with kind of really interesting projects to do each year. We use a full sensor suite. We have optical sensors, sonar sensors. We apply many of the principles, physics principles for forces in motion that we learn in our 8th grade physical science class, which I also teach. And so we get to apply a lot of our knowledge there. To extend our robotics knowledge, we have a competitive robotics team that participates in the first robotics competition series, if any of you are familiar with that. So we have lots of opportunities to apply the information, the knowledge that we learn in our science classes, to have some fun building and designing robots that actually work and do some fun things. And then we have opportunities to extend that into competitions. So a lot of opportunities that are really a lot of fun.
These are amazing teachers. We are so lucky to have such an array of electives taught by such competent individuals. And I'm so sorry, Mr. Quinn, you have to understand, every time I talk to Damien, it is about world civilizations, and I forget, oh yeah, you do other things too. So at any rate, thank you so much, teachers, for all that helpful information. Yes, slide. Oh, sorry. Do any of you in the audience have any specific questions for any one of our elective teachers?
Or any of us at all?
Hi, my name is Kendall. I'm here tonight. Just kidding. For robotics, do you have to take that 7th grade engineering class first? Or could you do like band and art in 7th grade and then jump into robotics in 8th?
My opinion is we can start. Is this turned on? My opinion is we can start with that one. We started the robotics, and we've had students that did not take the 7th grade class. So I don't think there's a problem with that. They can do the club in 7th grade. That's right.
Any other questions? We do have some important dates coming up for the performing arts, and I don't want to get these wrong. So Mr. Stevens, okay, I'm gonna ask Mrs. Uzier if.
I know that the 22nd, April 22nd is the band and percussion concert. 29th is the orchestra and chorus concert, and then when is Seussical? May 6th is Seussical, which is the junior high theater production. I think. Yeah. There. Come on out and see and hear everything. Everything's been incredible this year. If we could do Big Fish again for you right now, I'm sure you would love it.
Yes, if you have not been to an HTEA production yet, you definitely need to go because it will blow you away, any of our performing arts. It's amazing. I think were there any other questions besides our, oh, yay.
I got you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, is there guitar in fine arts or band?
Not at this time. We have a lot of students that play guitar and bass, but not a specific training on that, no.
We do have an FCA praise band that if students do have that talent, you still can use your talent here at school. And we do have a talent show, which we just had. We always have a few guitar players.
There might be an option, not this coming year, but the following year. I'd like to start a jazz band, which would take advantage of a guitar, a piano, and a bass player, you know, on top of the drum set player and all that kind of thing, to make out a rhythm section for the jazz band.
I have two questions. First, for the foreign languages, can the students test out of some base levels? So if the child already speaks a foreign language, can the child test out?
You actually need the high school credits for college. You would not want to go to college without your language credits.
I understand, but we're talking about, let's say, in my example, French 1, 2, 3. I understand there's French 4 and French AP. Can the student go to immediately French 3 and do French 3, 4, and AP?
Thank you for asking the question. It has occurred before that we've had students coming in who already had good foundations in the language. So it is something that we address with the advisor of the student, and absolutely a child can go from, for example, French 2 to French 4, or go from French 3 to directly into AP. It has occurred before. That's not an issue. That really would be the discretion. Of course, the child still needs to meet the 3 years requirement to graduate at Holy Trinity, but absolutely, if that child is ready to take the AP exam, is I think where you are going for, absolutely that child could do that if they have the basis.
And my second question was in regards to Intro to Engineering honors. So I understand for middle school robotics, it's not required to take Introduction to Engineering and Programming. How about Intro to Engineering honors? Is it required to take Introduction to Design Engineering and Programming?
No, it is not required, but you do have to have a math placement for that one. There is a math prereq and co-req for the Intro to Engineering honors in 9th grade.
Anybody else? Questions?
Thank you. A question about the math placement in the math class. What happens if, say, somebody's placed in pre-algebra advanced and then the pace turns out to be too fast for them?
We have complete flexibility in the junior high to make sure that your son or daughter is in the right class, math or otherwise. So we will make sure we get them there, irrespective of when that happens, okay? Because that's the goal. If it's too much, it's too much. If it's not enough, it's not enough. So we have flexibility there.
And how far into the year do you make this determination?
It's different for every case. I can't really answer that with an umbrella statement there. But we get your child to where they need to be. One little thing with signing up for classes too, for 7th and 8th graders and parents, when you come to take the math placement on April 23rd or April 30th on those Saturdays, that's when we're going to be signing up for classes, including the electives, okay? So we'll take care of all of that when they're here on one of those Saturdays. Any other questions? Of course.
Another question that I have is about art class. Is it all the students must have the same class, same art, 7th and 8th grade, or there's some flexibility there?
So there's two different classes. There's a art survey class and an advanced art class. I tend to like students to take the art survey class and then move into the advanced art class, just because the skills build on each other, and it's important that they have the foundations of color theory before they're actually having to apply color theory and things like that, where they're expected to use them and we're not going in depth on things. Does that answer your question?
A bit. Well, it does. And however, is a child taken a year of art classes at the lower school with the same teacher and pretty much covered some of the subjects that you cover. Would it be possible to discuss going immediately to the survey advanced and then after that to the 9th grade?
I personally wouldn't recommend it because the class is designed to build from the junior high up. I mean, from the elementary school up. So.
How do you decide if a student gets the electives that he has chosen? Will they get the electives that they've chosen, or like if there are too many kids in it?
So with scheduling, every student makes their request, and from there, the master schedule is built. So did you want to comment more on, or Mr. Wilson, did you want to comment more on junior high electives? Or, I mean, for high school, it's a little different. Upperclassmen would have an advantage because they're closer to graduation than, say, a 9th grader. But with junior high, 7th and 8th grade, I will let Mr. Wilson
What
take
specifically? I didn't quite catch the tail end.
over. Do the students get the elective that they request?
Almost always. That's what I can say. It's always good to have a backup plan B, though, for whatever reason, because we do have certain numbers that we can hit in a classroom. And if there's 28 kids and we have 20 seats, that means 8 people aren't going to be able to get in there. And we also have to figure how many teachers we have for that class. And elective-wise, it's usually 1. And so have a plan B, just to be safe, all right? So have 2 that you would like to take, not just the 1 outside of the fine arts in 7th grade, all right?
And sometimes you're surprised that even your B choice is pretty exciting too, and you might find you like that more than you realize. So, and there's too, even throughout high school, you may take some electives in junior high and then switch it up in high school and find, you know, your passion. So trying the different things is a lot of fun too.
So does Holy Trinity have any plans or thoughts on adding a financial class to the upper school?
We actually have an introduction to business honors class this year, but it is not open to 9th graders. It's open to upperclassmen.
Anybody else? Anything at all?
So I think we have some important dates, some reminders here. Of course, we've talked about that math placement test. And again, that's just one piece of the puzzle in putting together the perfect fit for your child's placement. And I see some of you with your phones out. Yes, please feel free to take a photo of this. This information will be coming out to you again. But also our used uniform sale, July 16th. Always good to pick up some extra uniforms there. They're nice and soft already. Junior High 101, July 18th through 20th. Actually, no kids that would prefer a used uniform to a crisp one. High School 101, July 26th or 28th, and Mini Junior High 101, July 26th or 28th. And then, of course, the junior high, senior high orientations, August 8th and 9th. Very important. Please attend those orientation dates. Lots of good information there for you. Oh, and now I want to introduce our new parent liaison, Beth Jacobs. I have the privilege of being one of her Sawyer's advisor. It's been great getting to know your family.
Hi there. As she said, I'm Beth Jacobs. I am the parent with 7th grader and a 9th grader, and we are new to the school this year, so we were sitting in your seats not long ago. Although tonight obviously is about curriculum, I get to talk about what I think is one of the best parts of Holy Trinity, which is the community. And I think that you'll find it's a really welcoming group. There are a couple of hints I would offer you, and so you may want to take a picture of this as well. And I know Mrs. McHenry said that this is going out via email, so you should be fine. But there are a couple of things in your on-campus, which you all already have for your students. There are new parent groups. We will periodically post things in there that could be really helpful to you about athletics or academics, some of the different things that will be coming up in the next couple weeks. But secondly, I would say read the weekly newsletter. I think everybody's getting it at this point. I know it can seem a little overwhelming in the beginning, but there are lots of great dates in there. For example, some of the shows we have coming up that if you are available, if your student is available or wants to grab a friend, you should definitely start going to those things because it really helps to get you and your family and your children settled in and make you feel a little bit more comfortable when August rolls around. We would suggest maybe subscribing to the HT social media pages. Again, same thing. There's lots of good information about activities and things that are going on at the school. And I would say for parents, in your on-campus account, this was super helpful that someone once told me. Sign up in notifications under your My School app. There's a little box that you can check notifications for messages. So you may not yet be in the habit to go into your on-campus account all the time to see if, the option to place your lunch order is in there yet. But if you check the box for messages, it will come to your email box, which you probably read all the time. So that is a pretty good tip. When you roll into the fall, I'm sure that your academic advisors will tell you can also check boxes that say missing assignment, which you may or may not need. Also with that, sports interest forms, summer activities, and club signups. The best way to get your kid in and involved and meeting lots of kids to try and, make an attachment to a friend is to just really throw yourself in head first right out of the gate. Sign up for some sports, sign up for different clubs. There is something for everybody, for all kinds of kids. And what I will tell you is if you go onto your on-campus, there's an athletic interest form. You can click on it and just, any sport you think your child might be interested in or currently is interested in, go ahead and send it through because the coaches get those. And sometimes, particularly the fall sports, they have stuff over the summer. And it might be a nice way for your child to say, spend a little time with some of the kids before even orientation. You don't have to, but it is a good way to kind of get in and up and running. With that, the club signups will be at orientation. So as I said, there's something for everybody. And then really from a parent perspective and a child perspective, come to those games, come to the art shows, go to the play. All of those things, they really help kind of bring you into the community, and it does help your kids feel settled in very quickly. The Tiger Team, you'll probably hear more about that in the fall. Tiger Team is what we at the upper school really kind of do to bring everyone in, kind of parent volunteers, small jobs, big jobs. Any amount of time you're willing to give is always good. And then lastly, if you have any questions, what you think may be silly questions you might not want to ask, some of the teams like uniforms or sports or activities, feel free to email me. I'm happy to answer any and all questions, and anything I can't answer, I'll hunt it down for you. So, thank you.
I first want to thank all of you for coming, but our panel, thank you so much for all of your time. And again, anyone that's here, you can reach out to any of us, all right? Our names, you can go through admissions, get our contact info. I know I recognize some faces already from tours and stuff. I'm psyched that you're here. I'm psyched to get to know your kids, support them, love them. And any other questions at all, then we are going to call it a wrap. And thank you. Oh, one more. Hold on one sec.
On the math placement, is there a sign-up for that? Or do we just show up on the day?
There is a sign up, and Dr. Sakura at the back door under the exit sign, if you turn your head right now, she'll guide you to what you need to do, okay? That was math placement. Anything else at all before we head home for the evening? Again, thank you, everybody. One more. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I guess I came full of questions. For the placements for the science, I see it in all the brochures that you separate the groups in college prep and honors and AP groups. How do you do that, and when do you do it, and is it purely based on the testing and teacher recommendation, or is the parent have any input in that? How is that done?
It's a lot of different pieces that go into that. it starts before your children even get here, actually. We look all the way back to what you've provided when you've applied, and then all the work that they've done up to the point, as you notice in 8th grade, the physical science and the English have advanced in regular classes. So if you're in here in 7th grade, we have to base it on everything before 7 and all of 7 up to that point to decide which track, as you said, that student would go on. If they haven't been here, then we have to do a little bit more digging because we don't have as much info. So it's a case by case. It's not I can say all kids are going to go on this track because of this. We have to determine each student and what their needs are and what they've shown us thus far. Does that answer? Yeah, and just like the question earlier with the math, if it's not where they need to be for whatever reason, then we have to get them where they need to be, obviously, just like in the math world. Did that answer? Okay. All right, one last time. Anything at all? We'll be down here if anyone has any other questions. We're going to hang out here. Panel's going home, though. And have a great evening. Psyched to see you soon.